Alright, what is up, folks? I know we haven't done much on Bloxugan lately, but being the beta has just dropped today, I figured nonetheless it's time to go through the patch notes we received. So first off, we have Leonidas finally coming back. I didn't get to play with him when he was first here, so I am hella excited. We got Alpha Blaster. Leonidas gains 200 Gs. Leonidas Fusion. He has different fusions for each attribute. Pyrus Strike. He gains 50 Gs, and nothing can enter or leave the current battle. Aqua Spiral. Leonidas gains 10 Gs for every turn he has passed. For every turn that has passed throughout the battle. Chaos Lightning. Leonidas returns any allied Bakugan on the field back to the hand, and gate card that Bakugan is thrown to is negated on re-entry. That one is going to be great. Ventus Storm. Leonidas enters a battle and forces an opposing Bakugan to an adjacent gate card. Subterra Quake. Leonidas cycles a gate card from the used pile and places it on the field. Darkus Phantom. Leonidas subtracts 100 Gs from 3 random opposing Bakugan on the field. Can hit the same target. Maxes out on the amount of field, i.e. one opponent on field only hits once. 3 plus on the field hits 3. So definitely very interesting for that. Then they forgot to mention Leonidas is neutral, so he doesn't have a primary attribute, which means no prestige needed. Thank the Lord. So our first attribute patch notes, we got Darkus. Curse of Obsidian no longer diagonal. Alcondor will only need to be adjacent. Double Dimension goes from 2 to 1. Destroy Force Down goes from 45 to 60. Oregano goes from 2 to 1. Your Darkest Bakugan subtracts 100 Gs from each opposing Bakugan it is battling. You gain 100 Gs, and each allied Bakugan on the gate card also gains 100 Gs if it can be matched 1 to 1 against an opposing Bakugan. Will Tether. Your Darkest Bakugan tethers one opposing Bakugan to another opposing Bakugan. Whenever the tethered Bakugan loses Gs from an ability, the other Bakugan loses the same Gs, max 1. And I'm pretty sure this attribute got the least changes. So, next up we have Pyrus. Wing Burst, 50 transfer to 75 transfer, allies gain 50. Fire Judgment, effect remains the same but gains 125 Gs when an opposing gate card, which is going to be pretty cool. Firewall, minus 50 on opposing gate cards, minus 75 on allied gate cards. Backfire went from 75 to 50 if nullifying an allied gate card. No boost will be applied. So now you get 50 instead of 75, and instead of nullifying your own or a friend's gate card, you get no boost to stop you from glitching it that way, which is a pretty good change in my opinion. I don't really play Pyrus, so. Power Charge. Your Pyrus Bakugan gains 50 Gs starting after 2 turns. Unless it is defeated or returned to the hand, it may attack an opposing Bakugan using its starting Gs plus 50, bypassing the rest of that Bakugan's side. Notes for stacking. Stacking bypass Power Charge can now bypass stacks. When bypassing the calculation, uses the plus 50 bonus and the Bakugan starting Gs, ignoring current field Gs. Failure condition. If the calculated value is insufficient, the Bakugan's total current G power must be greater than the stack value to successfully complete the snipe. Restrictions. Power Charge may no longer be activated inside of a battle. So now you want to use it before you're in a battle. So that is nice. Burning Soul can no longer be activated on allies' gate cards. You will get 125 on opposing gate cards now. Inferno Trinity can only be activated in battle. Blazing Reflector, max 1. Reflect the last ability if it targets your Pyrus Bakugan or alters the gate card it is standing on. If it reflects an ability, your Pyrus Bakugan gains 25 Gs, replaces Wall Burst. And Overheat, max 1. Pyrus Bakugan doubles the G gain of the next G boosting ability applied to it. That one's going to be nice. I see why it's only at 1. One more thing, if you want to run any generic you want, we have officially removed the B and C tier. So now you can run any B and C Bakugan you want in the B and C tier. But A's, of course, will still only be allowed to be run in A's. You've been informed they also forgot to add the Doom card, now automatically activated if drawn in your opening hand, no longer a settable gate card, which is a cool change. Next up, we got Bakugan changes. They had to split it into 2 parts. Changes to existing abilities. Robotallion Enforcement. Robo will gain a permanent 50 from activating his ability, but his allies will gain nothing. He may select 2 other allies on the field. This now includes teammates. If any of the 2 selected or Robotallion defeat another Bakugan, they will gain 25 permanent Gs. No Slap. Tuscarora may return to hand or stay on the field, even if the snipe fails. That one's going to be pretty nice. Vice Grip. Terror Claw can steal any target ability, but the caster must be adjacent to the target. For better context, this means he can steal Pure Light if positioned properly. Green Aegis. An allied Bakugan is moved to a gate card adjacent to your Ventus Griffin, then all adjacent allies gain 65 and all adjacent opponents lose 65. Slice Cutter. If Mantis is higher Gs than the Bakugan he targeted, they will move to the card behind him, and it minuses 50 Gs. Twin Machete. Mantris targets an opposing Bakugan and gains 50 Gs. Then if Mantris Gs are higher than the target loses 125. That's going to be nice. I never played Mantris too much. Saurus Glow. Saurus or an allied Bakugan permanently gains 50 Gs. If the boosted Bakugan is defeated, the glow passes to another allied Bakugan of your choice on the field or in your hand, losing 10 Gs when passed to a field Bakugan or 25 when passed to your hand. Boosted Dragon. Second boosted Dragon will stack only 50% of the permanent effect, however. Preus Swapping. You may no longer pre-select Preus' attribute before throwing him out. When on the field, if he has not been switched to another attribute, then upon activating an ability within his attribute cycle, he may switch attributes to activate it. Afterwards, he may no longer switch until returning to your hand. If you're confused, it means you may throw Preus out as Aquas, and then using an ability like Double Dimension will switch him to Darkus. Crystal Fang. This card is now immediate, can no longer be negated. That's interesting. Chaos of the Darkness. When sniping, Hydra will only use his starting Gs as the comparison for killing. However, if his on-field Gs are lower than his starting Gs, that will be used instead. Gravity Chamber. Hinoid pulls all adjacent opposing Bakugan to its gate card. After pulling those with lower Gs than himself are defeated, the rest stay to battle. Now, this is the one I was looking like. It was pretty cool. New additions, all generics from this point forward, will have an ability card. Hooray for SpongeBob. So Garganoid gets Garganoid Gaze. Garganoid targets an opposing Bakugan in battle with it. That Bakugan switches control to your team for 3 turns, only usable while the opposing side has more than 1 Bakugan. Warrius Oni Charge. Warrius gains 100 Gs. When Warrius defeats a Bakugan, instead of returning to the hand after battle, Warrius may move to an adjacent gate card on the field and retain all G boosts from abilities. Serpenoid. When I first read this, I swear I saw Sirenoid and I was overly excited. And then very sad when I realized I misread it. Serpenoid targets an opposing Bakugan and constricts them, placing the battle on hold. The target loses 25 Gs every turn. If the target reaches 0 Gs, it is defeated by Serpenoid. This effect ends if another Bakugan is thrown onto the gate card, or if they are moved to a gate card with another Bakugan present. If either is moved, they move both together. If Serpenoid and the target are the last 2 remaining in battle, this effect clears after 15 turns. Stinglash Abyss Ruler. Stinglash swaps the gate card they're standing on out with 1 from the gate card owner's hand. If the gate card owner has none left, the opposing player places 1 instead. If neither have gate cards left in hand, the gate card returns to the hand as well as the Bakugan on it. Limulus Bottom Feeder. For the rest of the game, while on field, Limulus gains 35% of the G power for every Bakugan defeated. That's pretty sick. B-Striker Fatal Sting. B-Striker returns a Bakugan to its owner's hand, but has a 50% chance of being defeated. If B-Striker is on an opposing gate card and is defeated, the gate card will remain on the field. Monorus Fairy Dust. Monorus targets a Bakugan on the field. As long as it remains on the field, that Bakugan is unaffected by gate cards. And Wormquake Desert Ambush. Wormquake targets an adjacent gate card. When an enemy Bakugan lands on that gate card, Wormquake automatically moves to it. If the enemy Bakugan has higher Gs, Wormquake loses 50 Gs. As well as something they forgot to mention is Chaos bypasses stacks. So that's gonna be something. Changes to existing abilities Part 2. Desert Thunder, instead of 50 transferred, it's 75. Death Scythe permanent, 75 to 100 now. Raging Tempest, 80 to 100. Vanishing Finish, same effect, but Prius may now switch his attribute to one of his 3 cycles as well. Also, I might as well give you the Fortress cards. So here, which we are getting Fortress, if you guys haven't seen. That's going to be great. Face of Rage, Fuse and Base. Transfer 50 Gs from an opposing Bakugan in battle with Fortress. Face of Grief, Fortress immediately negates the last ability if it targets Fortress, is activated in battle involving Fortress, or alters the gate he is standing on. Face of Joy, nullify the gate card Fortress is standing on, not immediate. Face of Serenity, Fusion, randomly returns a face ability card from your used pile to your hand. That's going to be great. Changes Part 3. Poison Fang, the ability is now instantly casted, no longer waits for the chain to resolve, and the turn drain is adjusted from 10 to 25. Totemic Tide. If Aquas Alcondor leaves the field or is defeated, the Bakugan that gained Gs will lose 75% of those Gs instead of all of them, which is a pretty good change. Next, we got the G Overhaul system. This one, I definitely have to say I do like quite a bit. So, we are taking a new approach to the G-Power system. Currently in the game, all Bakugan have predetermined G-Power regardless of your deck, which made some Bakugan like Warrius more powerful than Limulus. This aims to address the issue. So, this will be a long explanation process, so I'll try to break it down. To start, Gs have been lowered as a whole. Bakugan will start at 185 at the lowest and will be 310 at max at the lowest as well. To explain better, this slot A is 205, slot B is 195, slot C is 185. These are your level 0 Gs. If you remember, Bakugan Gs are determined by which slot you place them in, so Bakugan technically do not have set G power anymore, besides Guardians, since you can only run A's in A, which is still good. You know, we don't want somebody running 3 Guardians. The level cap is now 50, which we all know how bad the leveling was. And to take this into account, it'll still be relatively about the same amount of level a Bakugan for your XP. There will be some NPC challenges that will be difficult to beat, but reward you with a ton of XP. While level 50 will still only gain a max of 125, 5 Gs for every 2 levels, but all the odd levels will award you with a misc reward. For now, just HSP, other items in the future, or you will unlock an item tied to that Bakugan, aka a gate card or an ability card. I think that was the best change out of that. They may have doubled it, but to help you get their gate cards and ability cards, that's good. For those still confused, this means that you will no longer buy a Bakugan's ability card and character card in the shop. You will only need to buy the Bakugan upon leveling. You will be rewarded with the Bakugan's items. So once Juggernoid reaches level 7, you will get his character card, and at 14 you will get 1 copy of Depth Tornado, which again meaning if you can still run 3 Depth Tornadoes, you get the 1 free here, and then you buy 2 from the store. For anyone wondering what the max Gs are, slot A is 330, slot B is 320, slot C is 310. So here's where things get a little interesting. The max Gs can be manipulated. Which special ability cards you put in your deck. This one's really interesting. So, slot A base 330, right? So, Boosted Dragon, you can have 2. That's 10 Gs per card. Preyas, Blue Stealth, 2. That's 10 Gs per card. Tigrera, Cut and Saber, 1. Cut and Slayer, 1. Crystal Fang, 1. 1 gives you 10, 15, and 30. So that's essentially 55 Gs if you run all 3 of Tigrera's cards. Extra. Skyrus's 3 Firestorms is 20 each, so that is 60 total. Mega Impact 2 for Gorham, that's 25 a card. Hydronoid, Merge Shield, Gravity Chamber, Chaos of the Darkness, 1, 1, and 1. It gives 30, 10, and 10. All these are per copy, which is very interesting. Generics, remember these can go into any slot, and they also have the same thing. So Mantris is Twin Machete, you can have 2, it gives plus 5. Slice Cutter is 2 plus 5. Marionette is 2 minus 35. That one kinda sucks. And Sling Blazer is 1 minus 5. Which I feel like it might be a bug and they meant to put plus, but not overly sure. Juggernoid's Depth Tornado is 1, so that gives 40. Super Shard is 2, and it gives 30. Robotallion Enforcement 1, it gives 0. Robotallion will stay at the Gs of this slot cap. Alright, so next we got Quality of Life voice changes. They did add more changes, or not more changes, but more voice lines like Suji and Spectra. I cannot wait to go in there and figure it out. The battle log. We now have filters for the battle log, so if you want to see when somebody activated an ability card and exactly what it did on what turn, you can look at it there. Chain UI. You can now click on the caster and the targets, viewing that chain, and they will highlight everything involved in the chain. Now that is a huge W right there. Same server battling. You will no longer be teleported to a new server when you're battling a player in the same server. or an NPC, server sizes have been reduced to 20, might be 15, we don't know yet. Cross-server matchmaking. You can also now cross-server matchmake, so you can battle people in your server and in other servers. That's also going to be pretty good. While they don't have ranked, they do want to run ranked, and if they add ranked, all your Bakugan will be maxed leveled for that. So if you're battling NPCs, if you're level 10, you'll be level 10, but if you go into ranked at level 10, your Bakugan will be level 50, so that it's a fair playing field for everybody, which is a huge change. Next up, we have spectating. You now no longer have to be spectating before the match. You can then instead spectate anytime you want. This was also another change that I really love so far. The Bakudex. All Bakugan ability cards and gate card information will now be available in-game, so you don't have to use the website that they have for it. That is one of my favorite changes so far. Notifications. There will be a notification for in-game events. But for now, it will only apply if you get a variant rarity, that being a flip, pearl, stuff like that, which is very nice now. So now I know when I get one. I don't have to just assume, and it'll also tell you what one it is, which is great. The field and camera battle change. You can now change your angles of the cameras to make it so much easier and more tolerable instead of infinite orbital view, which is also fucking amazing. No more forced orbital. Now, going first is no longer RNG. They will be doing it on rock, paper, scissors aspect. That one I also like. Trying to outwit your opponent in rock, paper, scissors. Game modes. In addition to the matchmaking system, you will have two other game modes. Gate Domination. Format is first to X points. 2 points for winning on an opposing gate card, 1 point for your own gate card, and 1 point for snipes. Last man standing still applies if all Bakugan are defeated. Singles, first to 3 points. Team battles, first to 6. Open arsenal. This one's interesting to me. Players start with all ability cards in hand. However, you can only play 3 at the start, and you are capped to how many you can play. Every 4 turns, just like how it normally works, instead of drawing a card, you'll be able to use another card. So if by turn 2 you use all 3 ability cards that you're allowed to use, you will have to wait till your 4th turn to use a 4th one. NPCs. This one's interesting. You know, a lot of people are going to have challenges. You can now 2v2 against NPCs, or 1v2, which is going to be great. Next change are gate cards. You will be allowed to have 7 gate cards and no longer restricted to the 2-2-2. This one is also a pretty cool change. They'll instead be shifting to a point system. Gate card changes. Final Judgment. This gate is now Chaos only. Other attributes, it's time for you to find a new staple. Good luck. That is brutal. That is brutal. Magma Fuse no longer requires a battle to end on it. After the next battle and all queued battles end, every gate card on the field will be destroyed. Players can only have a max of 6 gate cards on the field in 1v1s, and in teams, both teams can only have a max of 6. Gate cards that are automatically activated, such as Mind Ghost, will now be moved to the front of a chain, which is also kind of cool, but at the same time, I don't think that allows you to negate them super well anymore, so we shall see. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. New command cards. I will let you guys look at them. I'm not going to read them here. I'll just scroll so you can look at them quick. Alright. And this is the point system as well. So, character gate cards. Generics are 0. Guardians are +1. All attributes are +0. So, Hazardous, Transform, Switch Break. Those cards are worth 1 point. These are worth 2 points. these are worth 3 points, and those are worth 4 points. And you have 10 points to build the deck, which means you can only run 2 4-point cards and 1 2-point, or 2 4-point and 2 1 cards. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. Next, we have the Ventus patch. Blow away went from 3 to 2. Can only move opponents that are adjacent to the target. That kind of sucks. Air battle, if the card is opened, you will not be allowed to move towards it. That also kind of sucks. So if you move him in the chain before it opens visually, you're okay. But if it's visually opened, it's unfortunately not going to work anymore. Reverse blow. Max 2, now 3. If the Bakugan's G's is lowered, it will reset upon entry as normal. However, any G boost gained via ability will remain. Jump over goes from 2 to 3. Scarlet Twister from 2 to 3. Cyclone Slam has 2. Your Ventus Bakugan selects an empty gate card on your opponent's side of the field. The gate card owner and you must throw a Bakugan on it. If your opponent has no gate card on the field, you may choose your card instead. Tornado Warning Max 2. Your Ventus Bakugan moves a gate card to an empty position on the field to help you with setting up better adjacents. So that's going to be nice. Next, we did vote for Chaos, but they gave us Subterra instead. Copycat from 2 to 1. And will only allow bypassing of the initial activation, so if it has a secondary one, it will not work, which does kind of suck. Grand Slide can only jump onto allied gate cards still able to be moved. Earth Power 50 for each Subterra you control on an allied card. Gate Building original effect, and 25 for each gate card you control on the field. That one's pretty good. Terra Crunch removed from the game. I didn't really play Subterra too much. I barely got 2 hours on it, so I'm not too sure about that one. Seismic Trigger Caster can now be the target as well. No longer requires 2 Subterra on the field to prompt your own gate. Spirit Cannon, 50 for each adjacent gate card. Grounded Infection, adjacent limitation removed. However, you can't transfer nullification to gates that are already nullified. And Sand Trap can no longer target allies. Now, the first 2 Chaos changes kind of suck for me, honestly. For those of you that don't know, I started Chaos first before transferring to Ventus, so this does hurt. Ability counter 2 to 1. Lightning Tornado 2 to 1. That does suck. Enhancement. For each Chaos Bakugan you control, you gain 50. Pure Light will require the caster to target an allied Bakugan. The owner of said Bakugan will be the one to receive the revive. If your teammate has none on the field, you can no longer bring them back into the game. Lightning Shield no longer has the restriction of only negating attribute gate cards if used on an ally, which is quite nice. Rapid Chaos. If the card caster is the owner of the targeted Bakugan, they may throw in allies or themselves. Otherwise, if the target is not the caster is only allowed to throw in a Bakugan from their hand. Applies to Rapid Fire as well. Chaos Freeze. Effect immediately freezes the battle. Duration. Freeze lasts until the caster throws another Chaos into battle, or 5 turns, whichever goes first. Targeting. While frozen, the gate card and the Bakugan on it cannot be targeted by abilities. Chain abilities. Any unresolved chain abilities will reactivate once the battle resumes. Solar Resurgence. Select one allied Bakugan that is defeated and place it on the same gate card as an allied Bakugan with half of its Gs. It lasts for 3 turns or 1 battle before leaving. That is going to be quite interesting. Solar Refuge. Your Chaos Bakugan targets an allied Bakugan on the field that Bakugan gains 25 Gs, and if it would be defeated, it is instead moved to the Chaos Bakugan's gate card with 0 Gs, which also kind of sucks. And now for the final type here, we got Aquas, the one everybody in chat in the Discord was waiting for. Water Slap, -50 to the target and -25 to adjacent. For the next 5 turns, all G boosted activated by Bakugan impacted by Water Slap are reduced by 25%. Adjacent targets are not allowed to nullify or reflect, which is interesting. Holograph Divide, 25 per battle, or 25 per turn instead of 50 every 2 turns. That is a huge change. I love that. Especially when you know you need it on that specific turn. Aqua's Bubble prevents movement for 4 turns, no longer lasts until the Bakugan returns to hand. Aquatic Refuge, after 2 turns, the Aqua's Bakugan may resurface on an empty gate card. If there is none, they must resurface on the same gate card. Dive Mirage went from 3 to 2. If a gate card is nullified, you may no longer dive toward it. That does kind of suck. Aqua's Lure, your Aqua's Bakugan targets an adjacent opposing Bakugan, and so long as both remain on the field for 3 turns, that opposing Bakugan is pulled to the caster's gate card. That's going to be nice. Water Lasso, max 2. Your Aqua's Bakugan forces your opponent to place a random gate card from their hand to the field. Your Aqua's Bakugan then moves to that gate card. If the opponent has no gate cards left in hand, it is pulled randomly from their unused pile. That's also cool. Also, Subterra was missed. Tectonic Shift, max 3. If the last ability moves your Subterra Bakugan will instead move to an unoccupied gate card instead. Magma Prominence can be used on closed gate cards again. And Haostasis can now only be activated in battle. And that is it for the patch notes that we got. So I know it's quite a lot. Let me know what you guys think. I am super hyped for this. And I cannot wait to see you all in there. And for you guys to follow mine and Phoenix's playthrough. I will catch you guys in the next one.